Zach is not here.
5 o'clock, calling the meeting to order. Please rise to the pledge. And Mary Ann, will you lead us?
I pledge allegiance
To the flag
of
of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Is Zach not coming?
He's not here yet.
Oh, because I texted him that I might be late, but he didn't text me that he might be late.
But we just did the pledge thing, so.
Good evening. Sorry, I'm running a little late this evening.
So, with that, since Zach is now here, I'll make a motion to approve the August 26, 2024 regular meeting minutes.
I'll second that.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Zach, Neil is on Zoom. Just
Hi,
in case
Neil.
you're hearing.
Seated on Zoom? Do we have to do the thing?
Yeah, just ask him if he has anybody with him.
Neil, do you have anybody else in the room with you?
No, can you hear me?
Yep.
Yeah, we can hear you. And I assume you're unable to attend town hall in person this evening?
Oh. Are you,
He's muted again.
yeah, you muted, you're just muted, there you go. I think you're on again.
No, he's still
He's
muted.
You're muted, Neil. There you go.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yep, we can hear you.
Okay, good.
The
Are you-
answer to that question is yes. He's
Yeah, that's what we got.
got something going on.
Okay.
Oh.
Announcements. The Select Board will meet on the following dates at 5 p.m. Monday, September 23rd. Tuesday, note the different day, October 15th. And Monday, October 28th.
Just so you know, I won't be able to make the 23rd.
Which one?
September 23rd. Hawaii. Just throwing that out there. Well, thank you, you know.
What do you got going on the 23rd?
Hawaii. Cruise, baby.
Oh my gosh.
Empty nester, gotta do something.
I guess. Dates to remember. Tomorrow is the New Hampshire State primary election, which will be at Plymouth Elementary School. Polls will be open from 8 a.m. to 7 p.m. Any citizens wishing to be listed on the Select Board's agenda should notify Town Hall before noon the Thursday before the scheduled meeting. And all meetings are held here in Town Hall and are available by Zoom. Zoom information can be found on the town's website at plymouthnh.gov. Town Manager's Report.
Thank you. Select Board Strategic Priorities, I had sent the updates from the last meeting and wanted to know if you had any additional changes to those or if they looked good and we could move forward with approval of the strategic priorities of the board for 24-25.
I don't recall seeing anything that I objected to or any problems.
No, all looked good to me.
Okay?
Yeah, it
I
was
will
good.
get those up online so people have a copy of those. Street lighting, I met with Joe Fagnant, Jesse Jennings, and Ann with regards to review of the street lighting and delegating responsibilities for inventory, oversight, and maintenance. Through that conversation, we have moved street lighting over to Jesse Jennings to develop an inventory, create oversight and maintenance of the street lighting in town. Financial audit, Ann has been busy in preparation of the upcoming town audit to start on September 30th. I've been updating the MD&A, management discussion and analysis portion of the audit to reflect activities over the past year. Highland Street project, summer of 2025, we met with State of New Hampshire DOT Estimate Review Committee on Friday, June 28th, with regards to additional funding for the project as discussed in the public hearing held earlier this spring. We held a proposed action public hearing on Monday, August 12th at the Select Board meeting where the proposed action plan was presented to the public and informed them of the direction the project is headed. We are currently waiting on approval for additional funding from New Hampshire DOT through the Governor's Council. Welfare report for August of 2024. Mary Ann received 44 calls, emails, or in-person visits with regards to assisting individuals with housing, rent, and other monthly expenses. Mary Ann has created 2 new forms based on guidance from the New Hampshire Municipal Association: shelter agreement for acknowledgement of sheltering opportunity and shelter reporting slip for continuity of sheltering assistance. We'll talk about those as we move through the agenda tonight. Parking update. Last year, we implemented 6 parking spots at Fox Park. Due to the high demand that we received, we've increased that number to 20 spots this year, and all spots have been filled. We currently charge exactly what the university charges, $150 per semester, which has brought in $6,000 worth of revenue for the town for permit parking. I know there's been some concern over taking those 20 spots, but we have been up there looking at the Fox Park parking, and there's an additional 38 spots that are available for those that would use Fox Park, both in the lower and the upper side of the parking area. Our parking officer has been through there. He checks on those vehicles every day, as he does with the rest of the parking that takes place in town. We moved the permit spots for the post office to the 3 spots next to the post office on Highland Street. These were our 3 lowest performing meters, so we took those and put those over on this side. Up above here at Post Office Square, we still have 2 permit parking spots that are not taking as of today, and we added 2 additional town employee spots because this area around Court Street is filling up so fast every day with patrons into town hall. So we're asking employees to park up there and leaving a couple more spots out here on Court Street. We still have several spots in the substation dirt lot off of Green Street. I'm hoping that they'll be utilized by employees on Main Street. But I will tell you that Deputy Chief Buffington has walked the Main Street asking businesses if they're interested in leasing those spots or renting those spots through permit parking, as these 2 up here, and we're not getting any interest. I really hate to leave that permit parking unfilled. We do have a waiting list for Plymouth State University students that are willing to pay the permit fee price of $150 per semester. I'd like to hold off on that until sometime next week, which will give us a month that we've communicated with the downtown businesses, and take 4 of the spots down on the substation parking lot and give those out, or not give them out, but rent those out to university students that are on our waiting list today.
Do you know what the cost is
For the,
for business to take one of those spots?
it basically is $1 a day.
Okay.
It comes out to $1.07 a day, I think, Marion, exactly. But
Said $1.
we've been trying to get businesses to take it, and they won't.
Okay. I might take one.
Scott,
Yes.
those spots that the students park in at Fox Park, are those daytime only parking hours? Are those anytime hours? Is it
Anytime
overnight?
hours.
So some students would get those and then leave their car there overnight potentially?
Correct. And what we do is we have an email chain that goes out to them that when it snows, they have to have their vehicles removed by a certain hour for plowing to take place, or the vehicles are towed out of there.
Okay. Along those same lines, you're probably gonna talk about this with Russell Street. Is that Park Mobile metered parking in front of Russell Street, is that metered all the time, or is that only like during business hours? When?
During business hours, no parking overnight on any street.
Okay, so it's no overnight there anyway.
Correct.
'cause it's
And
on
I
the street.
did fail to mention that at the end is, our intention is to put Park Mobile on Russell Street. We have lined the street with the parking spots. There's 35 spots on Russell Street, which will again create a substantial amount of revenue through Park Mobile for those spots and university students or residents looking for a place to park during the day. But there is no overnight parking on any street or road in the town of Plymouth, and they do receive tickets if they're parked there overnight.
Gotcha. Thank you.
union negotiations in accordance with RSA 273-A, the Town of Plymouth representatives, which are Ted, Bill, and myself, and the ASME Local 3380 Plymouth Police Department will conduct the reopening meeting for union negotiations this morning at Town Hall. We've established the ground rules and working on a tentative timeline for meetings. We were able to schedule 3 additional meetings for September 24th, October 9th, and I think October 18th is the.
Sounds right, but I have to go
Third one.
back and look.
So what the ground rules are, is just negotiating in good faith. There's a list of ground rules that I can share with the board. But our hope is that by the 3rd meeting, we will receive any proposed changes that the union would like to see in the contract, so we can start negotiating at that 3rd meeting as we move forward. I thought it was a good meeting this morning.
Yeah.
We have a new representative from ASME that is taking place. She's been with them for 6 months, but she seemed very open to the conversation we had this morning and setting the ground rules.
And is fire and dispatch separate from police now? Is that
So
how this
police
is
and
working?
dispatch are one.
Okay, police and dispatch,
And
one,
then
and fire is.
will be the 2nd bargaining unit.
Okay.
We have received information from the fire union that they would like to have an opening meeting. Currently, they will be part of the Professional Firefighters of New Hampshire, with the ultimate goal of becoming part of the International Association of Firefighters union. But they have not been accepted in that yet, but they are part of the Professional Firefighters of New Hampshire. And I'm just waiting to hear back from Captain Peck, who will be leading that for the fire department, on dates and times that they're available to meet. Ambulance collections outstanding balances. As with last year, we looked at the ambulance contracts. We made some updates with that. We're now looking at ambulance collections and outstanding balances. And Ann and I have been meeting with Chief Morrison, Deputy Chief Pierce, and Jen Goodwin from the fire department with regards to invoices that have been sent to collection. The town currently contracts with a company, FFR, as our collection agency since 2018. We are reviewing the contract, the reporting, and the level of collections to determine if there's any additional strategies that can be taken in write-offs for this year and years to follow based on current regulations. What we have found is that some of the statutes with regards to collections changed in 2022, and you can't send any invoices under the amount of $500 to collections, that we will just have to write those off. There's no means to collect those. And then we'll be looking at, based on the new statute, on the statute of limitations on when we can collect and when we'll have to write off existing balances. So, work in progress, but we are working on that.
Do we actually know the amount under 500? Or you're still evaluating?
We do, I don't have that with me, Mary Ann, but we know what the total amount is and what the amount under $500 that we've had to write off because they're no longer allowed to be sent to collections.
Do you have any sort of ballpark at all for what that is?
With a total,
Yeah,
about $265,000.
that's a lot.
Yeah.
Can we apply
Total write-offs.
We apply a $500 late fee to it to put it up over the $500 mark and then collect
If
on
I'm
it?
not mistaken, the total write-offs from going way back to the beginning of time, which I don't know why they were existing on our books, is about $650,000. So we're,
It seems like every time we get to that $600,000 mark, we start to write things off. It's just collections.
collections come in at about 13% of what we send to collections. So it's not,
Wow.
It's nothing that,
there's a lot of ambulance services that don't even send to collections now because the collection company takes 30% of that 13. So, but we'll do some more homework on it. We'll be meeting with them, getting some additional information. And that is one reason why we changed the way we bill today, is that we're not dependent on the money coming in that we're sending to collections, is that we're being made whole by the community in which we're providing that service for at a dollar amount that we know that ambulance run cost. And that was one of the reasons why we made that change.
Was there any legislation last year to get collections from ambulance? Or
But, I'm sorry?
was there any legislation last year for recouping, ambulance fees?
What they
I thought
keep,
they were.
what they keep attempting to change is the amount that Medicare, Medicaid, and private insurance companies are paying, but nothing, they have some really good lobbyists. And nothing has really come forward.
No, not
Has
from the
changed that.
private or the commercial, but from Medicaid, Medicomp, I think we are going to see some changes with regards to what they will pay for transports, but from the private and the commercial is the lobbying groups or so. I think it was set aside for study, a 6-year study that will go
Okay.
forward.
6 years.
Economic development, per our conversation at the select board meeting on Monday, August 26th, I've started research on an economic development consultant. I have asked for information through the New Hampshire municipal managers on consultants that have been used and the success the municipality has had with that consultant, as well as a sample RFP that we could use with regards to going out and finding a consultant. I have received a couple names. I've reached out to them to schedule meetings with them, just initial meetings to have a conversation. They've done work with Newmarket, Franklin, Goffstown, and Derry. And all of the communities have been very happy with them. So I'll have more at our next meeting on that.
Have we heard anything back from PSU about economic development at all? And
It is not happening,
Oh.
based on a conversation I had with Tracy the other day, is there was some discrepancies on what the university was going to pay John Christ and what John was expecting that he would be paid. So as of right now, no, and I've made it clear to them that we're moving in a different direction. Pirate Party update. The town had an initial meeting with Plymouth State University regards the handling of possibility of a pirate party to be held on Sunday, October 13th, that the town of Plymouth will have a strong police presence to include New Hampshire State Police, New Hampshire Police CERT Team, and Grafton County Sheriff's Department. We are currently working with the off-campus landlords to deter any parties occurring off-campus housing and on any street, road, or sidewalk in the town of Plymouth. Attorney Radigan has drafted, and letters have been sent as of last Thursday to Plymouth Vegas, Barstool Plymouth, Barstool Sports Incorporated, and Meta Platforms Incorporated, informing each of these groups that a pirate party will not be allowed in the town of Plymouth, as there will not be any permits issued for this event. And as I stated, the letters were sent last Thursday, September 5th. Local Foods of Plymouth Fall Festival. A committee has been meeting for the last few months on planning a fall festival in Plymouth to feature food trucks, local farms, local bands, and children's activities. This event will be held on Sunday, October 20th from 10 to 2 on Green Street in Plymouth. The fire department, the health officer, the police department have been all involved in this planning for this event, and it looks like it's going to go off without a hitch. They finally found an agent to be the fiscal agent for the event at the Bridge House. So it looks like everything is in place, and it will occur on October 20th from 10 to 2. Plymouth State University updates. I'll be meeting with Jess Dutile on Monday, September 16th for our monthly meeting. In place of a CCC meeting, community council meeting, we will discuss updates from the university at the select board meeting on Monday, September 23rd, 2024 at 5:30 p.m. The university has agreed to bring representatives down to have that conversation, as well as I will be sending out invites to off-campus landlords with regards to the meeting taking place on September 23rd, 2024. Over the next few weeks, I'll be meeting with the Plymouth State University Student Senate. I have my first meeting with them next Monday, September 16th, with regards to being an active community member and creating an open line of communications with the Student Senate. One thing I do have is I do have a letter of resignation that I'd like to read to the board. To Scott Whedon, Town Manager and Board of Select Persons, from Joseph Fagnant, Highway Supervisor. Resignation as Highway Supervisor. I am writing to let you know, as of December 31st, 2024, I have decided to leave the Town of Plymouth's Highway Department. I'm aware of acclimating a new employee to the Highway Supervisor position takes some time, so I would like to give as much advance notice as I can. I've gained a lot of knowledge and developed professionally while serving the community. I have appreciated all your advice and assistance throughout my work. If you have any questions or concerns regarding the projects that I have been working on, do not hesitate to get in touch with me. I will be happy to assist with changeover process in any manner I can. The residents have been very supportive to me and my department. Best wishes and prosperity for the town of Plymouth. So Ann and I do have a meeting with Joe on September 25th to finalize and get his paperwork started. I would like to start meeting with the highway employees to gather some additional information and see if we have anybody within our existing department that is interested in the position. And then from that, I'll report back to the board. I'd like to have something in place by the end of October so that we can move forward with the Public Works Department.
Do we actually have a job description? I know at one point.
We do
Okay,
have a
great.
job description for that position. But that's one thing I think that needs to be reviewed as well as we move forward in hiring a new person and figuring out the logistics of what that position is actually going to do. I think there can be modifications made to that job description.
Maybe we should do that before we talk to,
I'd like to
Current
talk to the
employees?
staff first to hear what they feel about the department
Okay.
and what their thoughts are on how the department should move forward.
gotcha.
Because I think we possibly could have two individuals that might be interested in the position.
So if we have two internal positions, is our intent still to advertise?
I think it depends on discussions that we have with them. I'm a firm believer if we have a qualified candidate in-house, and I can tell you right now, the town of New Hampton and the town of Bristol both have public works directors positions open, and they're not receiving any applications or resumes.
Wow.
Which leads me to believe if we have somebody internally that could fulfill this position, we should take advantage of that before advertising outside the department.
Town of Warren does as well. They have a position open right now.
So I don't want anybody that we might have that's interested in the position looking elsewhere.
Yeah, that's fair too.
So I'll bring back more information after I've had that opportunity. But
Well, Joe's a legacy, and I wish him a very happy retirement. So,
Yeah, I'm sure we'll have him in to
yep.
wish him a farewell and all those sorts of things.
yeah, absolutely. I think once Ann and I have an opportunity to meet with him, we get everything that he needs, his paperwork all lined up. We'll invite him in to thank him for his 34 years,
I believe so.
34
yep.
years service to the town of
Years.
Plymouth. And that concludes my report for tonight.
Excellent. Thanks, Scott.
Any other questions for Scott?
Actually, just a couple to do with parking, because
Yep.
ask all the time. How many parking spaces do we actually add to South Main Street? Any idea?
8.
8, okay.
Yeah.
And did we lose any?
No.
Okay, thank you.
All right, departmental discussions. We've got a donation here from Mount Prospect Academy to the Police Department This letter from Nate Buffington says, the police department received a donation in the amount of $5,000 from Mount Prospect Academy. We're asking the board to approve and accept the funds, which we hope to use for the development and implementation of a public safety drone program to include licensing and training, which will help with search and rescue, locate missing and runaway juveniles, and assist with crime scene and accident investigations. Any concern about the ongoing maintenance of that licensing and training beyond what this $5,000 will cover?
No, it's, once they receive their initial commercial pilot's license for drones, it's renewable every year, just with a certification test.
Okay, and that's not that expensive to do those ongoing?
Okay, I'll make a motion to approve and accept the donation of $5,000 from Mount Prospect Academy to the police department.
I'll second.
Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. I saw a visual eye from Neil. Any opposed?
Aye.
See no opposed. Welfare update. Scott or Ann, do one of you want to introduce this?
So I know that Mary Ann continues to work on updating our rules, procedures, and policies, and this is just a start to that. You'll see the entire policy probably sometime in October, maybe even November, when time allows. So this is a shelter agreement in which the town indicates that they do support the homeless shelters and such, in considering a form of assistance. When someone comes into the town hall and applies for assistance because they're homeless, if they refuse to go to the shelter, that can be, depending on the situation, that can be an automatic refusal, no assistance being required. Again, every situation with welfare is completely separate. It all depends on the situation of the individual. The other slip that you have here is a reporting slip. It's up to not only the welfare department, but essentially falls back on the welfare recipient to reach out to shelters, landlords, etc. So this form here just kind of advises them that they need to tell the welfare director that they have reached out to people and who they reached out to, the phone number they called, the name of the person they spoke to, the date and time. It doesn't mean that we're trying not to help them. We're trying to get them to help themselves as well, and understand that they have a responsibility. So that's what these two forms are. So really nothing to be approved, just to let the board know that that is something that's coming in those regulations. Do you have any questions?
Is there a
on it?
typo in the second sentence in the shelter agreement?
Let's see. Is assisted and or supported your entrance into a homeless shelter to meet your sheltering needs?
Yeah, the town and/or.
Yeah. The town, I'll just get rid of the and or.
Yeah,
think
it
just
should be
the
town
end.
supports.
Sorry about that.
That's okay.
And this would become part of the Town of Plymouth welfare guidelines,
Correct.
which are based off of the state RSAs for welfare.
Oh, I noticed another typo. It is our intention, not intention.
Is our intentions.
It's our intention to assist, not intentions. So if you see any further as you review this information, let us know. Again, you'll be presented with a full update on the welfare guidelines. This is just going to be part of it, so I just wanted to make sure that you're aware of that. This has been run by New Hampshire Municipal Association attorney, and it came from Scott, the town of Peterborough,
Rochester.
Rochester, I'm sorry. This is what Rochester uses, so when we asked about it, they were able to just kind of send it over to us and said, this is something we'd recommend. Okay?
Okay. Sounds good. We have a couple of appointments here. First up, we have a letter from Meredith Flynn. Dear Select Board members, with this letter, I request your approval for me to become an alternate on the Plymouth Energy Commission. I'm committed to the stated purpose in the PEC bylaws, which is to assist the town of Plymouth, its Board of Selectmen, and its citizens reduce energy use and consumption, thus saving money for the town and its citizens. Thank you for considering these requests. I look forward to working with the PEC. Sincerely, Meredith Flynn.
I will make a motion to appoint Meredith Flynn to the Plymouth Energy Commission as an alternate member.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any opposed?
Zach, just to confirm, you do have an email there, I believe, from the chairman of the board at the time, Grace, as the board has requested, those chairmans actually reach out and say, we recommend,
Oh, yes, I do.
just so you saw that.
Yep, I did. I scanned over it,
That's okay.
but we did get the, from Grace, it says the PEC members approve and recommend this change in Meredith Flynn's membership
Thank you.
status. All right, and then after extensive discussion at a recent planning board meeting, there was interest in an additional planning board member participating in LRPC. I was in attendance and offered up my alternate position, given that it always overlaps with these meetings. I can't attend either anyway, but that Bill really needed to stay on LRPC because of the executive board. And so we wanted him to maintain his full position. Mike Ahern expressed an interest in taking my alternate position. So we have a letter here just kind of confirming all of that correspondence, but anybody who wants to see that discussion was during a planning board meeting. So we have in front of us basically an appointment to have Mike Ahern take my place on LRPC as our alternate LRPC commissioner.
I'll make a motion to appoint Mike Ahern to the Lakes Region Planning Commission as an alternate member.
How does the planning board feel about this? Isn't that something we ask?
It's on there.
Yeah.
sorry. Oh, it is. I'm sorry, I
They
didn't see it.
voted, I
Oh,
think
right.
5-4 and 2 abstentions, something like that.
5-0.
Right, right.
Zero.
5-0 with 2 abstentions, yeah. Before we get into more discussion, we should get a second. Which I'll second it based on my,
Oh, sorry.
since I originally recommended it during the meeting. Further discussion?
No,
Well, I'd like to say that, I'm opposed to his appointment. And I think he has some preconceived issues, I think, that he brings with him to the planning board. And I don't think it would be a good idea to put him on the commission.
I'm hesitant as well, especially given the, what he shared the past few weeks, and even Phil's acknowledgement of him being a quote obstructionist. Really not what we're looking for.
There was definitely some heated conversation at planning board. I think the end result was that planning board did recommend him with a 5-0 vote.
Okay?
That would be my statement.
So if we basically voted down, do we have an alternate?
I'm willing to serve.
Well, you can't because it's at the same time this meeting is.
Yeah, that doesn't help us, Neil, because that's the same problem I have.
We can actually make a couple of meetings there's only like 4 between now and the end of our terms.
Yes, I agree. At the same time, we got a letter from LRPC saying that our attendance they found unacceptable, which I get. We can attend the annual meeting and we can attend maybe one meeting a year. I get it. I think having an additional planning board representative there, I mean, generally, what we're trying to get out of LRPC benefits from having representation.
And I indicated that we're, both Neil and I are both leaving the board in, like, in March. And there are 2 meetings, actually the October meeting, we can both meet. Because it's like October 23rd, which is like, it's not going to interfere with select board. So,
I don't understand how that helps our long-term issue, though.
when we both get off the select board, then we'll have as much time as we,
So you're suggesting that you and Neil should be representatives on LRPC even though you won't be members of the select board or planning board?
yeah.
I don't think I would support that. I think having an association with either the select board or the planning board is better for those representative positions.
I'll make it on the planning board.
But you're not there now.
You're not there now.
Nope.
Yeah, you're not there now.
Neil's on there, but he'll be off when he becomes free and easy, so.
But Neil's suggestion wasn't raised during that meeting.
And
I mean, we could go back to planning board and say, the board doesn't feel in agreement with the person you've put forth as a representative.
We're the arbiter of who gets on the board and not. I mean, the planning board might make a recommendation, but select board chooses.
Yes. That's why we have a motion and a vote in front of us.
Right. Okay.
Their meetings all conflict with ours except the
Generally,
October one.
yeah, there are a couple that are, that we can attend that they're,
Effectively, their charter's written the same as ours, where they meet on the second
Second and
Tuesday or whatever, so it's the same,
The same cadence.
exact same cadence we have.
Right.
So again, the annual meeting's not on the normal night, so we can make that one, or, the once a year when they schedule it, or once every couple of years they schedule it in Plymouth, we can make that one.
yeah.
Although we have to cancel our meeting.
Well, it happened on a time where we had our meeting canceled, I
Yeah.
believe, but.
Yeah, it's tricky like that. It's
Right.
really tricky for us,
I certainly would prefer a select board member, but obviously that's out.
as would I. Yeah. Any additional discussion, Neil, before we take this to a vote?
Well, I've had a number of years of experience on a regional planning commission. When we were with the North Country Council, I served on the board of directors as well. And we were quite successful in moving up the ladder on some important projects.
I don't think there's any doubt as to the importance of LRPC.
The question, I think, Neil, is do you have any further input on the discussion before the board tonight, whether to appoint Mike to the LRPC?
I've given it a lot of thought, and I feel that that I could probably offer an input that is more in line with the mission that the select board has in the community.
It's interesting, not the particular question at hand. Do we want to take a vote? Okay. All those in favor? Aye. All those opposed?
Nay.
No.
All right. 1 to 4, we will not appoint Mike.
So we will send a letter or something off to the planning board, just letting them know of that decision and ask them to select another representative.
Actually, I'd like to make a motion to appoint
Sorry.
Neil to the alternate member of the commission. Lakes Region Planning Commission.
Without going through the planning board first.
Yeah. It's,
It's ours to appoint.
No, I get that, but we've also talked about, having the planning board and then,
We should
passing
get
on
we should
their
get a, we should get a second or
recommendations.
not before we further discuss.
Sorry,
All right, I'll
keep
second
doing
it so
that.
we can continue the conversation.
So you're saying that if we put Neil on, he could attend on the 23rd?
yeah,
Which would be true for me as well. I could attend. You and I both could attend on the 23rd.
okay. Well, but if Neil gets appointed, the vote passes, then he and I can both go, and
You can have the day off.
Okay. All right. If the long-term strategy there is that we're putting Neil in that position for him to be in that beyond his term on the board, I think that's a very strange thing for us to do.
there aren't very many people, or hardly any people, on the executive committee, which means that they're not on the commission as well, that are select board members. You know, it's either-
Are they planning board members?
some
Or
are.
zoning commission
Some are,
members?
yeah, some are zoning, some are just
Just
experts in the field.
townspeople?
Yeah.
Or should we have them have have them come back to us with another possible candidate?
Yeah, I mean, I like an attachment back to a more connected position in the town, whether that's planning board, zoning board, select board. I mean, that seems like a better representation for us, even if the person is otherwise talented.
Okay. It's a motion on the floor.
Any further discussion of the motion on the floor?
So once Neil gets off the select board, assuming you're not running, he's no longer on the planning board, right? Because he's a representative
He's our
of the
representative.
select board. So him being appointed to the planning board at that point, he would
Right,
he'd
'cause he's-
become an
his-
alternate.
Well, his planning board isn't an appointment.
Right, so assuming he doesn't run, he's no longer on the planning board. He would, if
He
he
would
chose
just-
to become an alternate.
He would have to apply to be an alternate, and I don't know if we have alternate positions open.
And would an alternate from the planning board be more welcomed from our perspective on LRPC?
I think an alternate would be better than from my perspective, would be better than just a citizen at large.
I agree.
You could query the LRPC for the fact that it runs the gamut. I mean, it's nice that someone from the planning board will be on. If Neil chooses to become an alternate, which, I mean, there's still plenty of time between now and then, an alternate might open up.
All right, are they full right now on the planning
There's-
board?
I think there's one more alternate coming down the pike, or if not,
I thought they were full.
I think we had a recent resignation.
I'm not aware of one.
I don't have the answer, but we can definitely answer the board, but not today.
Yeah, not interactively.
We had an appointment of Jason Ninos to the
Yeah.
board as an
Oh, right.
alternate member.
Right, I thought he filled
Peter Juliet?
Peter Julia's position, and
So I
that
don't think
was,
we
I
have
don't
an
think we have an opening right now. Yeah, I agree. Well, all those in favor of appointing Neil to LRPC in place of me in the alternate position,
say aye.
say aye.
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 All those opposed? Aye.
Aye.
All right. Neil's our new representative.
I've had probably between the planning board and the zoning board, I've had about 20 years' experience. And I served a number of years on the North Country Council. I had 6 years in the state legislature as a state representative.
We all know that doesn't matter at all.
Yeah, all those things kind of add up when you're dealing with state agencies and the Regional Planning Commission.
True.
Yeah, I mean, personally, I think that the 2 votes that we executed this evening is a pretty significant amount of disrespect to the planning board. I offered up my alternate position that I couldn't attend meetings to a member of the planning board. The planning board nominated and suggested a person and voted unanimously to put that person in position. And then the board here reacted this evening by removing me from that seat in advance of the one meeting I could have attended this year to represent this board on that commission. So I feel highly insulted by this board, and I feel like the planning board should also feel highly insulted by the votes from this board this evening.
I think you're mixing, I don't think it was any, what you feel, disrespect for you. You said, I'll step down.
Yeah, I said I would step down.
In lieu of, or unless.
I said I would step down so that somebody who could attend all the meetings could attend those meetings, and the planning board voted unanimously for a person to do that. And then this board, as a reaction to that, chose to remove me from that position. You didn't like their candidate, and you removed me. I think that's both disrespectful to me and to the planning board.
I disagree. I think
disagree,
we
too.
acted appropriately as a
The
select
vote,
board.
the vote has happened, and
Well,
we
if you want to
can move on
discuss it,
from
we
it.
should discuss it.
The vote's happened. It is what it
I
is.
understand, except you're sort of leaving it out there.
Well, I feel like you need to understand, I had very reasonable motivations to try to get a person into this position, and it was a very strange decision from this board. Next agenda item, Highway Department. We have a purchase order for Ambrose Brothers Incorporated.
So this purchase order comes as the contract closes out for the work on New Haven Road. What this represents is 2 change orders, one for stone walls and the other for ledge and pavement. And it would have come to $20,194.27, but we did receive an asphalt allowance of receiving $1,000 back. Keeping in mind that on May 28th, we approved a purchase order for $296,196.41. If we add the $19,194.27, it comes to $315,390.68. In the CIP, which had been approved in 23-24, 24-25, was a total of $350,000. So the project will come in under what was approved at town meeting in the CIP. The only additional piece to this is we have approximately $4,200 in construction engineering fees that we will be invoiced for once we receive field reports and documentation of what that engineer did while reviewing the construction project. So in all, we should come in under by about $30,000 on the entire project from what was appropriated at town meeting.
That's great.
All right, I'll make a motion to approve the change order for a total of $19,194.27 to Ambrose Brothers, Inc. for the New Hebron Road construction project.
Second.
Any discussion? I will say the work out on New Hebron Road that's been done to date looks really, really good.
They did a very nice job.
Yep. Both with the ditches, with the walls, with everything they've done. It's good work. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Zach, you should have that in your signature folder.
Yes, I have appointments in here too.
Neil, did you agree to that?
You're muted.
Yes, I do.
Thank you, sorry.
Response letter to the Department of Transportation.
At the last meeting, Bill and Neil advised that they were going to put a letter together for DOT, and so we put it back on the agenda. And I haven't seen that letter yet. I don't know.
So I'm waiting for Neil to type. No, I researched the fact that, I mean, it's very unlikely that we're going to actually move this project forward to like 2 years from now. And I contacted Lakes Region Planning Commission to see if there's like an easier path to actually have DOT, kind of help us out. And I got the instruction that what we could offer in the short term is, well, intermediate solution would be HISIP or HSIP program. And it's Highway Safety Improvement Program. And basically, you put some options for DOT, such as signage or lane configuration, and it could be used as a bit more nimble opportunity to do a fix that we can carry forward until it finally does the project completion. And I haven't, kind of put it all together in a nice little package yet, but, and I also wanted to include Town of Rumney. I think I mentioned that. And I don't think, you probably haven't touched base with them.
I have not.
Yeah. So I didn't feel like I should just go ahead and tell them that, or suggest that they could get onto this. I talked with Bob Birdie, who's a selectman in Rumney, but he agreed to it, but I couldn't, ask him for, in behalf of the town. And he would then present it to, his select board. And again, that would include, 2 senators, maybe like 4 or 5 reps. And, we can have a lot of people sign on to it. But in any event, I just wanted to bring it to this meeting and then just go ahead and knock it out.
How competitive is that?
See, I don't think it's, I think if there's a really good reason for it, I don't think it's that competitive.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So do we have to come up with the data? Why?
We've got the data, yeah. Well, yeah, in fact, I'll incorporate all the past, letter responses, the letters to them, and also all the, the incidents of accidents along the whole Tenny Mountain Highway section. So, that'll all be there, probably more inclusively.
As
and
well
then
as suggestions?
Possible, give them a suggestion, give them like more of an out that they don't have to answer, like there's other projects that demand more of our,
Right.
this is, will be a low ball that they could hit. So, until the complete project is done, but, and maybe put a plea to maybe like, lessen it by 2 years, and then maybe say, okay, we'll lessen it by 1,
Right.
whatever, but.
Just
at
to
least-
not get pushed off the back and into the next 10-year
Right.
plan,
Yeah, yeah. But,
which that's always the fear, right?
yeah,
All these projects run over and run more expensive, and then they can't fit us.
and I'm still kind of amazed that we're still getting highway monies, because I thought that was getting kind of like, lean and almost non-existent. And the fact that we have to pay, DOT's got to have to pay some money back as well. So all the federal funds are pretty much dried out. But regardless, I think we'll probably have an option of, getting that HISIP or whatever. So that's where we're at. So I would be able to contact Rumney Selectboard and, okay,
Yeah,
Yeah.
all right.
in consensus of the board,
Yeah.
please go do that legwork.
Okey-doke.
Thank you.
Am I open?
Yep.
On the mic?
Yep.
I just want to mention that I felt that Bill should take the lead on this, but I've been having discussions with him about it, and I think he's got a good approach.
Thank you, Neil.
We have a discussion of a reappointment of Joe Fagnant to the Transportation Advisory Committee.
Could we hold off on that until I've had a conversation with him? We have until October 26th
Yes.
to be able to make a decision on that, and I'll come back to the board after Ann and I have met with Joe to see if he's interested in serving through his end date of December 31st, and then maybe Steve or Joseph would have an interest in participating in that.
Is this a position that has an alternate?
What's that? I'm sorry.
Is there is there an alternate for these TAC member positions?
That I don't know, Zach. I can find out.
Yeah, it'd be worth finding out, because if there was,
Yeah, why
we
would
could get an alternate that at least, paired up with Joe because we know, even if we do appoint him, it's only gonna be for 2 months.
I almost think there is, Zach, but I need to confirm that because I know Joseph has been attending the meetings with
Yeah,
him.
I
So
think, I thought there were 2 members that were able to participate.
Oh, if that's the
both
case,
Joe
then
and-
yeah,
I'll find out.
perfect.
Yep, absolutely. I'll follow up on that.
Signature file.
Oh, it's thin, good,
Oh, I got some.
but it's thin.
Oh, it's thin, yes. So we have a timber abatement, and this is Neil, oh, he's not here, so he can't sign it anyways.
Good luck.
There was a timber bill that was sent out for $133.25 for timber yield tax assessment. After reviewing the actual report of cut, it says none sold. However, the signature, that it was signed in the wrong spot. So none sold should have been over here, and it was over on the other side. So we missed that when we billed it, so basically the abatement's for $133.25. It's timber. Here's another report of cut yield tax. This one's for $319.69 for a cut that took place on it doesn't tell me where the property is. Oops, sorry, on Tenny Mountain Highway. Out of the 100-acre lot, they cut 1.5 acres. Small cut.
My entire yard.
Yeah. I do have an application here for exempt status. This is for 238-3, 246-2, Hebron Town Line, the Audubon Society of New Hampshire. They have filed their BTLA 9, which lists the real property exempt claim on this form. Parcel 238 was transposed, and the parcel listed was 283-3. The application also included BTLA, let's see, A12 for pages 2 of the 990, or a portion of the financial statement as required. So let's see what she's actually offering. There's a burden of demonstrating the applicability of an exemption is upon the claimant per New Hampshire RSA 7223M. The list of requested parcels did not properly have the map and lot on all parcels, and the applicant did not prove the requested documentation, requested documentation for the charitable exemption It's recommended that the application for charitable exemption for the Audubon Society of New Hampshire be denied for the 2024 tax year.
So it's being declined because they,
Did not provide all the documentation that's required by the forms,
okay.
the state forms, which is a A9 and A12.
Another document from Joseph that I gave you.
It's in the signed file. There's a letter in there that he's looking for a grant.
Yes, I have that. For the hop round 2. Oh, sorry. What else you got, Ann? Anything?
Oh, no, I'm good. That's it. Sorry.
All right. Then there is this. Scott, do you want to?
Yes. So at the, last Thursday at the planning board meeting, September 5th, the planning board agreed to support the round 2 HOP grant application that Joseph had drafted. The application requires a letter of support from both the planning board and the select board. We had discussed this earlier with regards to the planning board applying for the second round of HOP grant, and what the outcome and deliverables out of this grant is agreed upon by the planning board was the completion of a master plan housing chapter, zoning ordinance review and recommendations, subdivision regulation review and recommendations are the 3 areas which will be included in the HOP grant moving forward, and that letter has to be, or the grant application will be submitted by September 30th.
Full board signs that letter, or just Zach?
Nope,
Okay.
it's all 5.
So make a motion to sign the letter. I don't know what it looks like, so.
Well, I don't know what it looks. So the letter just says, "To whom it may concern, we, the Select Board of the Town of Plymouth, hereby offer our support for the Town of Plymouth's application for the Invest New Hampshire Housing Opportunity Planning Grant Round 2. We adopt this letter of support at our meeting on September 9th, 2024. Members of the Select Board and our 5 signatures."
Okay. I move that.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
He did walk away. I saw him.
I was waiting for a late eye. Might sneak in there. Any opposed?
Yeah. I voted.
You're in support, Neil?
Yes.
All right, that's it for signature file. Committee reports, Village Water and Sewer.
No meeting. I think it's tomorrow, either that or next Tuesday.
All right. Planning Board.
Thank you.
We haven't had a meeting yet.
Yep. Yeah, we
There was
did.
a meeting,
On the 19th.
Well, you had the meeting,
Last Thursday.
there was
last-
a meeting Thursday,
Yeah, last
September
Thursday.
5th. Neil,
Last Thursday.
he missed that
Yeah.
meeting.
oh, Neil missed that meeting.
Yeah.
The discussions were about the HOP grant, round 2. They also discussed at length the zoning amendments for 2025. Stephen Kelly was in, did a presentation from Tenny Mountain with regards to the amendments that are being proposed and his concerns or comments with regards to those. That was probably the major part of the meeting. And then Frank Miller gave an update on a master major street plan, of which Frank will be back here on September 23rd to provide that same presentation to the select board. And that really kind of recapped the meeting at a 10,000-foot view.
Could I ask, who was that woman? It was like Judith or something like that?
Why'd you just ask me that?
Or,
Judy Barrett,
okay, all right.
from the consultant firm that worked with the planning board on the first round of the HOP grant.
All right. And I had like a brief conversation with like Joseph, I don't know, like a month ago or something like that about like, he said PUD, but it's PUDs, and looking at a project in totality, and it will still follow even if this developer does his bit, leaves, it'll still be under the auspices of that, agreement. So I think, I mean, it sounded pretty cool,
Right.
but.
All right. Campus Community Council.
As Scott reported on it, that they're going to be in here to meet with us next time to talk in lieu of an actual campus community council meeting.
All right.
Scott's going to send out notification to the typical people who come to make sure that they know that we're meeting on a select board night.
Plymouth School District.
Plymouth Elementary School is meeting now. Super convenient, so I can't be there. But I did attend the Plymouth Regional High School meeting on the 3rd. They had a student report this time. They talked about freshman elections occurring on the 12th, student council on the 17th, student senate on the 19th. They talked a little bit about homecoming events, and I'm not really 100% sure what this is because it was fast enough. Tuesday the 17th, they are going to elect chairs and their school board reps for their school board reps to their
Committees?
school board. So right now we have the student who was there.
Oh, right,
They
yes, the
actually
student
elect.
rep to the school board, yeah.
Principal's report, they were talking about, this is obviously a new principal, settling in period. They had their first fire drill. They hope to have another one, I think, this week, or it would have been last Thursday. They had reported that the number of students in athletics is kind of soaring. I guess that's good.
Yeah.
And they're participating and getting involved. They had a student-led tribute to Tracy McLean, I think it is. Let's see, enrollment is up 30, so they're up to 671. They have all their clubs starting. They're opening with theater. First delayed opening is on the 25th. They have a rather big challenge with Spanish teaching. Currently, they have no Spanish teacher for some of the introductory classes. They're going with, I think it's something with VLAX or something similar to cover that. The net result is even though this is a short-term problem, until they find someone more permanent, it's going to save them $25,000 because of this approach. And they're taking some of their honors and advanced placement classes, and they're enrolling them in a online high school course where they pay per student. And I guess there's a full-time teacher in that role, so it's acts a lot like a college class in some regards. They also had a long discussion about a bunch of legislative changes that affected them, and they had a long list. I'm not going to read through them. That there's I think there's 10 of them, 10 different things that had impacts. Parent notification, sports-related injuries, civics, age of delinquency, high school to now provide opportunity to fill out the FAFSA. I guess that's a pretty big one. So they're trying to help students who might not get the help at home to do it. Adding something to the student ID, basically not only a suicide hotline, but an eating disorder hotline. And some EpiPens that the nurses will have on and available. Let's see if I ran on to the next page. Some prohibitions about having firearms, but they can, if there's they can be kept by staff that's got the right credentials in their car as long as it's locked and out of sight. They had a change regarding right to know requests. I guess some schools have been inundated with right to know requests, which, you know, it's a lot of work for the staff to have to handle. So I guess after 250 of them, they can charge for it.
Is there any cap on how much?
That wasn't discussed, but
Interesting.
I don't know.
I voted for that.
Is there a cap?
I don't think so.
Okay.
It has to be actual costs
Oh, okay.
associated. Usually, that's what.
Okay,
that's
yeah.
what it is.
That's there was some discussion of women's school sport about sex designation at birth. That's, you know, part of one of the laws that's gone through. And so that's everything from the high school board.
Any questions for Ted? Conservation Commission.
Meeting next week, Tuesday, 7 o'clock.
Capital Improvement, no meeting yet, but we gotta have one coming up. October?
October.
LRPC,
You have a meeting on Wednesday for the executive committee.
Wednesday for Executive Committee. And we just talked about how the next one that we can attend is in October 23rd. Parks and Rec.
I had one thing that came from Lisa. She sent it last time, but she sent it out right before this meeting and I didn't see it. So I will tell you what it says. She said basically their fall flyer is out. They have over 30 programs as of the time she sent me this. So she would ask that I report that out. And that's all I have.
All right. Parking and Economic Development.
Scott reported on that, so.
Energy Commission.
There was much talk about the people leaving and the people coming in at the last meeting. And I think Grace has been sharing photos from the contractor that's putting in. And is it completely done now? Because it's been a few
it
days.
looked really close when I was out
It
there.
was a few days ago.
It's not
That,
completely done. The co-op still needs to do the interconnectivity piece to that, which the trench has been dug. It's been approved by Tom Newcomb, the building inspector. Colin was out there, did some mowing for him, cleaned it up. And my guess is by the end of this week, that will all be connected.
okay.
Nice.
And then they'll finish the panels in the center where that interconnectivity comes in to the array itself.
So it'll start making power for us.
Probably is. It's not going anywhere, though.
Soon.
Nice sunny time we're having
Making
now.
it and doing nothing with it.
Well, not much you can do about it.
Yep. Advisory Budget Committee, same deal. A little bit more time before we start meeting. PSU negotiations, we just heard about. Oh, no, we heard about the union
Yeah, there's
negotiations. There is no PSU negotiations right yet.
Not at present, but we have one coming up in the spring, right, Scott?
Well, we'll be meeting in January, March, May, and a final meeting in June to execute the 2025 LSSA.
Okay. Chamber of Commerce?
This Thursday.
PERLAC?
I'm pretty impressed with the fact that there's like, the meetings are very crowded.
That's good.
Yeah, and there was a kind of a lean period there, but now it seems like more and more people are showing up. And, again, the main applicant is Owl's Nest and the one in White Mountain. And the issues that they're having with putting in buildings and doing property rearrangement. So, I mean, it's not going as great as probably they assumed it was going to go. There's a lot of challenges with town of Ashland and DES.
Any questions for Bill?
None?
Police and fire, we're waiting.
We should have reporting back from the Turner Group mid-December with regards to schematics and feasibility. Was the last email I had back from him on Friday, Bill Hickey.
And we heard about union negotiations. I meant to bring up earlier, what's the current status on execution around the mediation agreement we have with Kirk's? Is that happening?
They applied to the zoning board as directed in the consent decree.
Yep.
They had the hearing on the 3 special exceptions for junkyards last Tuesday night. And the planning board put it back onto the 2 attorneys, Attorney Will Warren, who represents the town from John Radigan's office, and Attorney Jim Steiner, who represents the Kirks, to come back in with a plan that met all of the concerns that were discussed that night by the abutters, and how they would address those concerns, such as, for an example, testing of wells on properties that were adjacent to that, making sure that there was emergency access around the vehicles, making sure that there was proper fencing, all the things that are in the consent decree.
Yep.
But the 2 attorneys will be coming back to the planning, to the zoning board at their next regularly scheduled meeting to present that to the zoning board to see how they'll vote in favor of it
Okay,
or against it.
okay. And so nothing moves forward until that gets completed, like the fencing or any of that stuff? None of that
Correct.
stuff happens?
Correct.
Okay. Thank you. Anything else from the board?
Okay.
I'd like to call out to the highway department who started doing their seal cracking, crack sealing.
Oh, did they start that this week?
Yep, today.
Started today. I saw them at the lunch on the way home.
Where were they, where'd they start?
Reservoir Road.
Okay.
And then they'll be moving to Thurlow Street, and there's 2 additional streets that will be done this fall. And then all of the paving that you approved at the meeting for Beach Hill, Claybrook Drive, and the continuation of New Haven Road will all be completed on September 30th. We finally got a date from
That's
Porter
great.
Paving.
Yeah, I'd be really interested to see how, I know there was some debate about how far the seal it would go. I'm just curious how many miles or fractions of miles they can get out of it.
We should know by the end of the week.
That's great. Mary Ann, do you have something too?
Yeah, just the thought about setting up a scholarship for obviously the high school. Really thinking along Ella and I know we gave her a kudos for all the work she done. I know that was appreciated, but maybe formalizing it. I honestly have never gone down this path. I don't know what it means to set up a scholarship, what requirements we may have. I imagine it'd be something civic-minded towards the town. I just wanted to get some feedback, especially where it's budget season. Any other thoughts around that?
Have we ever done anything like that before?
I can tell you it's typically not the position of a town to provide a scholarship to the high school. It mostly comes from nonprofit groups out there, as well as firemen's associations and things of that. I don't know of a town that provides a scholarship to a graduating senior today.
Is there a reason or a conflict or
I just have
concern?
never seen it.
Okay.
And I mean, we do a lot for the school, I think, as they do a lot for us, and I just have never seen it happen that way before.
Yeah, once again, just trying to tie it in with the students, and once again, take the Ella example, and what she did is amazing,
Yeah.
beyond amazing.
Sure.
And if we could challenge another student or students with something like that, I think it's a good tie-in to the town, a good feel-good for the town. Yeah, like I said, I don't know what requirements we would put on that. Certainly happy to figure something out and throw it out there, but once again, just wanted to feedback if that was
I would
something
just say,
supportive.
keeping in mind with Ella, is that we did pay for the installations of those signs, so that project would not have been completed.
Sure, yeah, I know we helped, but you have to give her huge kudos for someone, a teenager, God, I sound old, but to take that and really impact the town. It's impressive. The signs are beautiful. And, I know we have all kinds of ways to do that in this town, all kinds of needs. Maybe won't go anywhere. I don't know.
And her project really didn't have much to do with the school itself. That was more
Girl
a
Scouts.
personal Girl Scout initiative.
Right.
So yeah, I would caution the town on putting any additional money out like that. There are other organizations that do provide scholarships for the high
Sure.
school, that if someone wanted to donate, or, any other school, wanted to donate funding to them, they can definitely donate that in that manner
Right, sure.
to them. So,
I just thought I'd throw that out there.
Anything else from the board? Public comments?
no comment.
Thank you, Frank.
Motion to adjourn?
I'll second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.